Welcome back here to another live stream. We're gonna go ahead and get everything up and rolling here. Let's see here. We're gonna go ahead and get everything going. But what's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well. Glad to have y'all here for another update on the tropics, my friends. We got a lot of updates for y'all. We do got ourselves quite a bit of stuff going on here with the system, but anyways, guys, hope everyone's doing well. We do got ourselves a lot. Oh my goodness, hold on. You can hear myself there. But we do got ourselves a lot of things we need to discuss with this storm here. This is now Milton. First of all, she is now a tropical storm. Milton is currently a tropical storm. Let's go and hop over here to its current vitals here. So tropical storm Milton, pressure right now is down to 1,006 millibars. We're going to hop over to the Hurricane Center. So 1,006 millibars. We are sustained around 40 miles an hour. So we're kind of low end tropical storm right now. We finally got our first cone here available to us. Unfortunately, like I said, things are looking a little bit concerning here. We should have a new update from the Hurricane Center here in a little bit. I think we have a 5 o'clock update coming up here very soon, so we're going to get into that. Let's see. Orlando here, not sure what to expect. So Orlando could definitely be impacted by the storm. There is still some things that we need to work out, but Orlando is absolutely in the cone, and the storm is, likely going to remain a hurricane as it rolls its way basically from the west coast of Florida to the east coast. Orlando, you definitely need to watch out there, as there could be some impacts down in time. We'll get the models here in a second, but as of right now, the Hurricane Center, we are expecting this thing to be a hurricane at landfall. The current path here, like I said, is still pretty much unknown. However, it does seem like a lot of models are starting to agree on the fact that areas near Tampa, near Sarasota, could be towards that landfall region. So if you live out there really just along the west coast of Florida, you need to really be watching this, as this really does have a big concern on it. Now, regardless of where the thing goes, there's going to be a lot of rain out there. We were talking Orlando seeing a good 4 to 6 inches, locally higher amounts being possible. Tampa Bay, look at this, 6 to 8 inches expected. Some localized regions could be between like 8 and 12 inches of rain out there. So we're definitely seeing quite a bit. I mean, Miami's even in the 6 to 8 realm as well, kind of more near the 4 to 6, but Miami is in the 6 to 8 realm here regarding rainfall. So there's going to be a lot of rain with the system. This is going to really kind of start tomorrow with the rainfall. The nasty stuff is going to be Wednesday. That's whenever the hurricane is expected to make landfall. Is going to be here on Wednesday overall. Let's see here. Milton should head north. Yeah, Milton's going to bring a lot of rain to Florida in general. Michael says, what will make this land, or when will this make landfall, and what category is it expected to be? So, Michael, this is going to be making landfall, like we mentioned, kind of here for the morning of Wednesday. From what it looks, we're going to start to feel it probably Tuesday night. But we're going to, have the heaviest effects Wednesday morning. So that's when we are expecting landfall would be here for the 9th, which is Wednesday. Now, whenever it comes to it, overall, the category is still fairly unknown. Right now, the Hurricane Center has it at a category 2, but there's a lot of models that suggest even higher. This thing is 5 mile an hour short from Cat 3 status, according to the latest cone here. Let's see here. Hey, Martinez, man, coming with a $2 super chat. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Saying good afternoon, watching from Orlando. Thank you, man. I appreciate the support. And so Orlando's definitely got to watch out there for it too. Because this storm it's not like your normal Florida storm. This one's definitely working a little bit different. This one's going to be, crossing over Florida. I've noticed a lot of storms like to ride into Big Bend, ride towards the Panhandle. It's not really every time you see a storm going, like to the west, kind of impacting near Tampa. As of right now, that's kind of where the majority of the models are agreeing on, is that landfall being somewhere between like Cape Coral and Tampa. That is certainly a bit concerning here. Let's go and hop over way back over to the models. Actually, I want to go ahead and show you guys the spaghetti models here. which we have those. So this is the 18 Zulu spaghetti model run. You guys can see, if we zoom in just a little bit, let's try to tilt this up a bit too. You guys can see the majority of the density actually goes right over Tampa. Now, the unfortunate thing is that I am actually really close to Tampa myself. I am right here. Blue dot is where I am at. So I am kind of in the middle of this. I'm a little concerned for my area, but yeah. So also, just watch out for Florida's West Coast here. The majority of the models, unfortunately, with the latest spaghetti model run, has a lot of the density over there towards Tampa. It seems like it's a good possibility that this thing could make landfall somewhere near Tampa. Now, regarding its strength here, the middle part, the kind of the upper average here has this thing at least getting into category 2 strength. Don't be surprised, y'all, if this thing gets up into category 3, maybe even, cat 4, worst case scenario. Could theoretically be possible. Now, right now, we're at category 2. We're expecting cat 2 at landfall right now. We're just kind of playing it safe, but just know in the back of your head that there is still a possibility that this thing could be even stronger than category 2. I mean, like I mentioned here, the Hurricane Center, we are literally 5 mile an hour short on that last update from a category 3. Honestly, I would not be surprised if this next advisory that gets issued, which it's literally about to be issued very soon, once this new advisory gets issued, I would not be surprised if this thing bumped up to cat 3 at landfall. It definitely seems like a good possibility. Plus, we'll probably see that cone shrink quite a bit with this next advisory. But regarding its track and stuff like that, like I mentioned, it seems like models are actually doing fairly well. But like I mentioned, the unfortunate thing is that the middle part, the average, kind of has it going right over Tampa and then going right over Orlando too. Which, even it could be quite a strong storm for folks out there, even in some of the inland portions of Florida. So that's, going to be a little bit concerning. What's up, Pilot? Hope you're doing good, man. Do I know if Miami will get hit hard? So Miami is going to have some potential impacts, absolutely. Regarding to what those impacts are exactly is still unknown. We did mention that there's going to be quite a bit of rainfall out of this system for Miami. You guys are going to see a good, 6 to 8 inches potentially out in that region. Possibly locally a little higher in some spots could, occur. So expect a lot of rain out there in Miami. Now, regarding those tropical storm and, potential hurricane force winds, I don't think we're going to get hurricane force out here, but we could, possibly see some tropical storm conditions, if things continue to roll in the direction they are going here. Let's see here. When will we start receiving rain? So we're actually going to start to feel some of this rain tomorrow. It's going to start raining Sunday, go through Monday. Tuesday, it might light up a little bit, but then Wednesday is when the hurricane's expected to make landfall. So, we're going to have multiple days worth of rain coming in here. So, absolutely. All right, let's stop. Let's just go ahead and dive on into models here. We're not going to really be, holding back here. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right on into it. So here's GFS. This is the 12 Zulu, the most latest GFS we got. So as we work our way down in time, the storm just kind of goes right up there towards the Tampa Bay. Now, this obviously would be a very, very nasty outcome for the Tampa Bay area. You guys would be seeing a lot of nasty conditions here. Let's go ahead and bring up this app. I was actually using this earlier. I used to use it a long time ago, but I kind of forgot about it. So let's go ahead and hop over to the GFS here, and we're going to work our way towards Wednesday. So this could be very problematic for, the Tampa Bay area. Obviously, you guys are going to be getting hit very hard, likely by a lot of these, really strong winds and stuff like that. And the waves, according to the GFS, could be quite large as well. In the Tampa Bay, we could have a good maybe 14, 18-foot waves out there. So, there certainly could be quite a bit of concerns with surge and stuff like that out there by the Tampa Bay. That really does seem to be like seems like it is going to be a big issue. Just along a lot of the western side of Florida here in general. Now, luckily for us inland, like where I'm at in Lakeland, the waves are, not going to be really anything of big concern. For more of my inland folks here, like Lakeland is where I'm at, the interior portion, it's mostly just going to be a big time wind event for us. And, you bet we're going to definitely feel some strong winds even on those inland areas, unfortunately. So, let's see. Face says, is it going to be significant threat for Fitzgerald, Georgia? Not so much for Georgia. This storm is mostly just going to be a big concern for Florida. Most of those impacts should remain mostly true to Florida. That could still change a little bit, but for right now, it seems like, Georgia's not going to be heavily affected. I mean, you might feel some, gusty winds, maybe a little bit of rain out there towards Georgia, but it's not expected to be anything, massive. Especially if it starts trending south, that would even, lower what you got. But yeah, Georgia's probably not going to feel anything super crazy out of this. Maybe a little bit of something, tropical storm, possible conditions down in the southern side, cannot be ruled out. But honestly, yeah, that's still not even for sure. Because we're still not exactly 100% sure on, the track, but, it seems like the models are really coming to an agreement here, in showing where the thing could very well potentially make landfall near Tampa. And like I said, the unfortunate thing is that, that's also where I'm at too. I'm not in Tampa, but I'm in Lakeland, which is really not far away from Tampa at all. I mean, I'm literally right next to Tampa. So, this thing could be quite a storm for your boy here too. So we'll have to, I'll definitely have to keep an eye out there for it. But anyway, so yeah, GFS here, I mean, really shows a very strong hurricane, likely major hurricane making landfall near the Tampa Bay somewhere for basically the morning of the 9th into the afternoon of the 9th. We're kind of positioned over kind of central, central, kind of maybe north central Florida near Ocala. Before exiting just near like Daytona Beach and then continuing off. That's according to the GFS. Now Euro, we do have the 12 Zulu run now. So the 12 Zulu Euro. Ooh, yeah, I haven't seen the 12 Zulu Euro, but honestly, it's a little concerning. So yeah, 12 Zulu Euro actually shows that thing getting down in the 960s, then weakening a little bit due to a bit of drier air. Yep. That could get influence into that storm, which, could be good news for us down here. That could allow the storm to maybe weaken a little bit just before it gets to landfall, but there's still a good shot that the storm will still be something fairly strong. There's going to be a lot of dry air after the storm, though, I'll tell you that. Look at all that brown. So, that could be good news, and something that could, ultimately limit what the storm, does overall. So we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see. A lot of us have not recouped from last storm. Oh yeah, I know, it's been pretty bad. We got hit very hard out here. What are the chances of the storm landfalling in Naples? That's, once again, still not known yet exactly. I mean, Naples is in the cone of uncertainty. Here, let's zoom out again. Naples is in the cone. More than likely, the storm is going to make landfall north of you, based off of current guidance. There's not a lot of support having it going for Naples. The majority of the models, unfortunately, actually have it kind of going up there near Tampa. Like I said, you're still in a cone, so there still could be some shifts. Could shift a little bit to the south, it could shift a little bit to the north, but majority of guidance, ensemble and just normal model really are clocking in on this thing getting near Tampa. So absolutely want my folks in the Tampa Bay to be preparing for this. You guys in Florida, I mean, just in general in Florida, we need to be monitoring and actually starting to prepare for this if we can, because this is it's becoming a pretty big concern. It is. I am definitely heavily concerned for Florida with the storm here. Once again, the first advisory we just got a little bit ago, which we're getting ready to get advisory 1A, I think. But once we get that new advisory coming through, like I said, I just don't be surprised if this gets upgraded to Cat 3. We're already 5 short from Category 3 at the latest outlook here. I mean, this thing's upper level Category 2 as it approaches near Tampa. This current track doesn't really have much happening between the morning of the 8th and the morning of the 9th. So not a whole lot of strengthening between them, but more of sustaining itself. But we'll continue to watch it. Once again, don't be surprised if this does get upgraded. Certainly cannot be ruled out. And like I said, the latest European model here does show this thing making landfall. Unfortunately, right in the Tampa Bay, and then kind of crossing over, going into Orange County where Orlando's at, and then pulling out and just kind of dying out due to a lot of dry air that just gets sucked its way into the storm there. So, it's pretty concerning whenever Euro shows this. You guys may or may not know Euro hasn't really been on its best behavior this year so far. It's been kind of underdoing these storms. And we're starting to see some pretty heavy guidance from the Euro. Once again, GFS here. Actually, Euro has the storm hitting a little bit later, while GFS shows it hitting a little bit earlier. But GFS still out there in the Tampa Bay there, which would be a huge issue. My uncle is leaving the Keys for a fishing trip tomorrow afternoon to go to Galveston. Does he have enough time? Yes. So the storm's not going to make landfall until Wednesday. Wednesday the 9th is whenever the landfall is. So that's still a good 4 days basically. I mean, if you're not including today, that's what, like 3.5 days or so. Let's see. What's up, Kyle? Hope you're doing good, man. Lived through Hurricane Andrew. Yeah, I wasn't alive then, but that was my hurricane. Reason I say that is because my name's Andrew, so I've always been nicknamed Hurricane Andrew. The eye wall passed over some of the areas impacted by Helene. So it really comes down to the track, like I mentioned. There's still a pretty broad uncertainty here. Overall regarding where it could. Now, the cone does still include portions of the Big Bend, so I mean, theoretically it could, or it could go down far to the south towards Naples, but, majority of guidance, like I was suggesting, really has that storm making landfall. This storm's going to be a little different, though, than Helene was. You really can't compare the two. They're completely different storms. So Helene, obviously, we know went up, kind of did something like that. And it kind of dug its way up into Georgia, while this one is just going to dig its way over Florida. This one's going to go literally over Florida, go on from the Gulf side to the Atlantic side. So that's the main difference with this storm here, is that this one's literally going to cross over Florida. And like what I was mentioning here, if we hop back over to the the spaghetti models here, you can see that majority of the density from that 18 Zulu spaghetti plots, really shows a tightening gap right there. You see that? See that little tight there? I mean, we have a couple little outcast models over here, but the main grouping is right on the Tampa Bay. And that's what's a little concerning to me. And like I mentioned, those individual models too. You can see the GFS here. The 12 Zulu 18 is not out yet, but 12 Zulu has that thing, the eye wall literally scraping right up against Tampa, which would be really not a good thing. Euro, same thing, but just a little bit later there, you can see, having that thing going right into the Tampa Bay and then kind of going over Orlando and then kind of tracking its way out. So, you can see that, the models, they're talking, and here's the CMC, which this one has a little bit further south, a little bit further south overall. So there's Tampa Bay. I mean, this would still absolutely affect Tampa, even if it made a further south approach. That would still absolutely affect Tampa there. But, the CMC shows a little bit weaker as well as it approaches, likely weakening due to a bit of drier air getting its way into that storm there. And, of course, then going off into the Atlantic. But so this is one of the models that shows it going a little bit further south. But then you have Icon, which, Icon has it kind of going between kind of a landfall near Sarasota overall. That's kind of more of a landfall between like Port Charlotte and Tampa is kind of what the Icon model is suggesting out there, which is still showing that low down in the 970s, 980s. Could be maybe a Category 1, Category 2 storm. Still very impactful for us out here, so that is something to look out for. We got the ECAIFS. This is basically the Euro model. That's the AI version of the Euro model, really showing the storm still going right there over the Tampa Bay, basically maybe a little bit more to the south, but still ultimately ending up towards like Polk County, and then towards like Orange County, which is like Orlando, as that central landfall point. And like I mentioned, the thing is that I am in Polk. I am right here. This is where I'm at, and so I am going to be likely heavily impacted by this storm here. I mean, this thing is like aiming right at me. So there is still definitely some time for the track to either shift a little north or south. But right now, the median, the average between all these ensembles and these models are really showing it between near Tampa. Unfortunately, like I said, that would be absolutely devastating if that did occur. Let's see, it projected to be a major. Now, is it? Honestly, not surprising. I am really not surprising here, or that's not really surprising here. Like I mentioned, I do think that would would have possibly occurred. I mean, on the first advisory that they issued here, we basically had 110 sustained, which that is literally 5 mile an hour short from a Category 3. I mean, that's like upper Cat 2, lower Cat 3. And that does seem to be a possibility. Let's see. I'm driving, so I won't be able to send another message. But what's going on? Please give us an update. Yeah, I have been. Oh, yep, there comes a new update here. We've got the new advisory coming out. So, Christy, things are gonna be getting a little iffy down here. Right now, we have a lot of guidance from these models suggesting the possibility of this storm going near or over the Tampa Bay. Kind of between like Port Charlotte and Tampa, kind of seems the most probable for landfall right now. A lot of the main models, you can see here, the GFS has this thing literally scraping the Tampa Bay there. Euro is agreeing as well, showing that thing literally going into the Tampa Bay and then just going over Polk, going over Orange County, Orlando. So that would still be a pretty strong storm, even for my folks up in Orlando. This is going to cause, some not only coastal impacts, but there's going to be a lot of rain with this storm here too. Tons and tons of rain. There's going to be some very strong winds with this storm here. I mean, even some of those inland areas are going to really feel some strong winds with this system here. So, a lot of Central Florida really needs to prepare for this. I mean, if you live in Central Florida, I would heavily advise monitoring this very closely and preparing for it. We got a couple days to prepare for this, obviously, but, don't wait till the last minute. Seriously. Do not wait till the last minute. I would honestly go ahead and start getting prepped if you haven't already. That way you guys can just be ahead of the storm, be ready for it, because, you don't want to wait till last minute whenever, some of those supplies and stuff like that could not be available. And then, so just try to get your stuff done. Once again, hurricane checklist, make sure you have, important documents, make sure you have, food and water, non-perishable foods. Expect your power to go out, so you're going to lose all your frozen and refrigerated goods. Then, of course, make sure you have a flashlight, extra batteries, stuff like that. Just make sure you have all that stuff there. Let's see here. Any idea where it's going after it hits Florida? So it looks like it's just going to go off and just fizzle out once it gets into the Atlantic. It's just going to continue going east, more than likely. Here, let's hop back over to the spaghetti models here. So you can see that the storm is likely just going to continue up into the to the Atlantic. Majority of the those models has this thing going like right over Tampa, right near Ocala, and of course out there towards like Orlando. That's where you can see the main grouping there. That's where most models agree on this thing making landfall. And of course, you got a handful of little models going down there more towards like Port Charlotte, but it seems like most guidance wants it going up towards Tampa Bay, unfortunately. Let's see here. Is it expected to make a direct landfall in Tampa? So it still is not 100% certain, but it does seem like a possibility. And there's a lot of models that are, yes, there's a lot of models that want that to happen, unfortunately. Euro is one of them. Oh, let me zoom out a little bit for you guys. Or actually zoom in over here. Euro is, one of the models that has that thing literally digging its way into the Tampa Bay. GFS here is another one that has it going right up against Tampa Bay with that eye wall. Yeah, could be quite a nasty storm. Let's see. You're welcome, Rockin', no problem. Yeah, so yeah, Ocala will definitely be feeling this one, absolutely. You know, there is a chance that Ocala could be in kind of that inner part of the storm too. You know, that's still what we kind of need to figure out here. Oh, yep, there you go. They upgraded it. Oh, shoot. Oh, buddy. That is not good. Not good at all. So there we go, guys. So they have upgraded the storm now to a Category 3 at landfall. Sustained winds are expected to be 115 miles an hour. So the landfall is looking like the afternoon of the 9th. Making landfall at right around 115 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts up to 140. I'm in Lakeland, guys. I am in Lakeland. I am right here. So, oh, buddy. And yeah, that's a little bit concerning. That is a bit concerning. So yeah, once again, you know, we could have some higher gusts, you know, once again up to 140, sustained at 115. We also got to watch out for that, you know, cyclone-induced tornadic threat too. You know, on the right-hand side of tropical cyclones, you know, we have that veering wind shear. We have that instability. That's where the tornadoes are going to happen. So wherever you have that low, that eastern quadrant or the eastern side of the storm, that's where tornadoes are going to happen. So we're going to have to watch out for that too. The tornado threat shouldn't be super long-lived, but there will be a tornado threat with it. Am I going to evacuate? I might need to. Actually, I am not. I'm actually in a mobile home. To the people who don't know, it's a newer place, so it's not like an older one, but it's a newer one. My home is rated up to Category 3. Obviously, I don't have to deal with surges or anything like that, but I'm pretty close to Tampa though, and if that thing goes right over Tampa, which is a possibility. You know, still being a major hurricane, that could still really hit Lakeland hard where I'm at. So I have a girlfriend. She lives in Orlando. I'm going to go with her more than likely if it's too crazy. But yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of in trouble with this one myself. Yeah. Anyways, but maybe I might evacuate. We'll have to see. It depends on the track, the strength, and stuff like that. I'm just going to monitor it for the next little bit. But, you know, I'm just definitely, I'm a little concerned. We'll say that. Let's see. Really hope you're safe. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna do my best. Absolutely. Let's see. How do I think Orlando will do? So yeah, I mean, you can see that, you know, the cone still goes over Orlando. There's actually a lot of models that suggest this thing, you know, either grazing Orlando or going right over Orlando. Orlando needs to prepare for strong winds, of course. You know, it is quite possible that Orlando will be experiencing some pretty strong winds with the storm here. You know, definitely does seem like a good possibility overall that, you know, Orlando will experience some strong winds here. Let's go ahead and pop this down here. I mean, you can, see that some of those winds will actually persist. First of all, Tampa Bay getting really hit hard. But yeah, some of those winds will also continue up towards like Orlando. Very, very strong sustained. Remember, these are sustained winds right here. These are little barbs of like 40, 50 knots out here. These are sustained winds, which, you know, they're going to be gusting a lot higher out in some of these regions here. So that's also something to take into consideration. But let's look at HWRF here. Pull up Milton. By the way, it is a tropical storm now, y'all. So here's Milton on the HWRF. Oh, no. Oh, God. I hate that. I hate that very much. That shows a direct Tampa landfall. Look at that, man. Latest HWRF has a direct Tampa landfall. Remember, I mean, it is one model. You know, take it with a grain of salt, but that is very concerning, to say the least. Like I mentioned, I'm literally right here. That's 50-knot wind bar. That's very concerning. Okay, so yeah, that goes right over Tampa area. Then, of course, continues up to the north and then kind of goes actually right there near Orlando. That would still be very strong for Orlando there, too. You know, pressure at this point, even in eastern Florida, according to this model, would still be in the 950s. This would be a really bad scenario here. So HWRF kind of wants, let's see, how strong is it wanting? It's wanting 121 knots right at landfall, or near landfall, which, let me pull that up. Let's do a knots to miles an hour conversion. Yeah, I'm gonna need the prep, guys. So, you know, this is, I always try to keep you guys weather aware and prepared and everything like that, which I'm gonna need to keep you guys prepped here too. So what is it showing? It shows 121 knots, which that'd be 139. That would be in Category 4 realm. Yeah, so HWRF wants Category 4 at landfall here, right over Tampa. HMON, let's see here, Milton. HMON pulls a little bit north, still very nasty for the Tampa Bay here. Then goes more to the north. Yeah, this one goes up there more towards like Ocala. This one shows max winds. Well, before it shows 134 knots. For this one also shows it impacting a little bit later than some of these other models too. So this one's a little bit off. But wow. Here, let's pull up the HAFS A here. Milton. Yeah, I haven't looked at the HAFS A models or the HAFS models. Okay, so this one does have it going right there at Tampa. Tampa, 60 knot wind barbs. That would be like, that's sustained, by the way. So that would be like 69 miles an hour. So that's almost sustained hurricane force up there in the Tampa Bay from this model here. Goodness, could definitely cause some coastal flooding, maybe along like northeastern Florida, maybe up there towards coastal Georgia. Rip currents, strong winds could be a problem. That's HAFS A. Then of course HAFS B, which is another. Whoa, that one gets aggressive. Holy cow, dude! Has it going barely just north of the Tampa Bay there. Goodness. Wow. Yeah, then that one also has it kind of going up there, maybe a little bit towards Ocala. Before going back out into the Atlantic. That is just ridiculous, though. Absolutely. Watching closely from Cape Coral. Yeah, absolutely. Cape Coral, definitely, I want you to watch this one, too. Once again, as of now, landfall is theoretically possible from the Everglades all the way up to the Big Bend. Although majority of guidance has that thing making landfall right in here. More than likely, the storm, that has a greater probability of making landfall in these regions here. But once again, there is still some time for things to change, and landfall along a lot of the West Coast is still very much possible. Still very much possible. So we'll definitely watch it. See, Tampa should leave. Yeah, Tampa, right now there's no mandatory evacs or anything like that, but do not be surprised if things continue trending the way they are, if we do get some evacs orders in place. That is something that we need to severely look out for, something that we really need to be monitoring. Wouldn't be surprised if there's any evacs. I'm sure that we usually get our tropical storm watches about 48 hours, and hurricane watches, I think, about 48 hours before the storm. So we're probably going to get those on maybe tomorrow evening. We might get some of those. I have work Wednesday. Can't leave alone. Gotcha. Well, be careful out there, Christy. Yeah, Clearwater, certainly an area we need to watch too. Absolutely. So like I mentioned, guys, once again, we are now expecting a major hurricane at landfall. We are expecting the thing to be a Category 3. Possible landfall near Tampa. Cannot be ruled out. So my folks up in Tampa, you do need to prepare for this. Start immediately, as soon as possible. Make sure you have all of your all of your things together. Make sure you have non-perishable foods. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have first aid kit, batteries, for your flashlight. Bring a flashlight, extra batteries. Absolutely. What about Ocala? So yeah, Ocala is definitely in an area of concern too. Ocala very well could get potentially, heavily impacted by the storm here. It certainly is a possibility. That cannot be, that cannot be ruled out. So, that is definitely what we need to look out for. Let's see here. You and the media suck monetizing. Hey, you know what, man? Like I said, all I'm trying to do is just help you guys be prepared. There is absolutely no reason for that. We out here are trying to save lives, and we don't need people like you complaining. If you don't like it, leave. Seriously. Like, nobody's forcing you to stay here, man. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, Caden, it really could. It could be a big issue for the Tampa area. Once again, that exact landfall point's still not dialed in, but, where a lot of those models are, a lot of those spaghetti models and stuff are really kind of grouping up. Once they start grouping, that means that there's a bit of agreement there. Of course, we still have a couple of the models. The latest 18 Zulu spaghetti models have it going, more down to the south here. And of course, we have a handful of them that actually goes right over Tampa, unfortunately. So, that's the latest overall. And once again, with these other models too, like the GFS, some of the main models like GFS Euro, they're showing that storm there getting right up there towards the Tampa Bay area. That's a bit concerning. Let's see here. All right, see you later, Christy. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But yeah, so we'll definitely be monitoring this. There still is a few things that we need to monitor and continue to watch, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Let's see. Does Tampa need to evacuate? So there's no evac orders in place right now, so there's no need to evacuate. There is still a couple days before the storm hits, so there is still some time for things to maybe change a little bit. So right now there's no reason to evacuate. However, I would heavily consider preparing for the storm. Make sure that you have enough water, enough food, non-perishable foods. Just stuff that'll last you during the storm. You guys want to have all that stuff ready to go. And once again, they did just update that now to a Category 3 at landfall, which right now it's estimated to be right around 115 mile an hour sustained, with gusts up to 140. So that's right at the landfall point. So that could, like I said, be near Tampa. Once again, we still have a pretty good size cone of uncertainty here, so there is still a bit that we need to kind of figure out, but models are continuing to support that storm ultimately kind of ending up there near the Tampa area. So that is a possibility. So we'll keep an eye on it, once again. And like I said, for my folks who's wondering, the storm is going to be making impacts here for Wednesday. It really looks like Wednesday morning is going to be Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon is probably going to be like the heaviest part of the storm here. So, and like I said, today, we have obviously, quite a few days to prepare for this, about 3 days or so to prepare for the storm. So there's enough time, but just, make sure you just don't wait till last minute. That is just something that I want you guys to just go ahead and get the ball rolling. Go ahead and get that stuff going here. Let's see. If Milton does aim towards Clearwater, are required evacuations, even if in flood zone or not? So if it does make landfall in Clearwater, there will almost certainly be mandatory evacs in place. I can almost guarantee you that. But there's no evac orders right now in place, so no need for evacuations yet, but monitor that because that will likely be a subject to change. Let's see here. Prayers for you and your family. Thank you. I appreciate that, Angelina. Yeah, like I said, I'm here in Lakeland, so I ain't too far from this thing. Will Lake Wales, Florida be bad? Let's see. Where is Lake Wales? Like, not familiar. Hold on. Lake Wales, Florida. All right, so you're in the cone. Yeah, you're interior. I mean, yeah, it certainly could get quite windy out here. I mean, you're not too far from where I'm at. This region definitely could see some strong winds with the storm. Now, obviously, we don't have the problem of surges. However, I will say this. We are going to see a good amount of rain out in these regions here, too. I mean, a lot of the peninsula of Florida is going to see a good amount of rainfall out there. You know, Tampa Bay could pick up a good 6 to 8 inches. Orlando could pick up a good 4 to 6 inches of rain out there. Miami, you know, good 6 to 8 inches overall. So, you know, that is kind of where we're sitting right now. You know, Jacksonville 4 to 6. You know, a lot of the main peninsula here is going to be, you know, dealing with a lot of rainfall. So flooding is going to be a bit of an issue here too. But yeah, here's the new cone there. Now, once again, the M stands for major hurricane, showing Category 3. So we are going to be in Cat 3 strength, possibly by the afternoon of Tuesday, making landfall possibly near the Tampa Bay here on Wednesday as a Category 3. If it goes right over Tampa Bay, yeah, it wouldn't be good. Would not be good at all. You're welcome, Reagan. No problem. Is Jacksonville going to get rain and wind again? You know, Jacksonville definitely could feel the effects from the storm. I mean, obviously, a lot of the peninsula right now is in the cone of uncertainty. So there still is a bit of uncertain, you know, things with the storm, you know, exactly where it's making landfall and, you know, how strong it'll be. While a lot of the guidance right now has this thing making landfall in these areas here, there still is a bit of uncertainty, and they're just, you know, giving it a big cone, just telling pretty much the western side of Florida to just really monitor this. I mean, it's certainly a bit concerning for my folks out here. Ted says not worried about it. Well, dude, honestly, it depends on where you're at, Ted, but you know, don't ignore it, man. You know, don't ignore it. Jason, man, thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate it. Saying extended forecast for Salt Lake City area. Great weather showing too. What, like Utah? I don't think we got much going on up in Utah. I appreciate the support, man. Let me hop here. We're just gonna have to hop over here. I think you're talking about Utah, Salt Lake City area. Maybe a bit of rain for October 12th, but that's a little far-fetched. Honestly, doesn't look that crazy. Not a whole lot going on out there. See here, temperatures warmer than normal, actually. Remember, this is also one model, so take this with a grain of salt here. Can't stay on this for too long, my friend, because we got to get back to the tropics. But you know, over the next couple days, we could have days getting up into the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it doesn't look like anything big's going on out in your region. Okay, I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Is this about the brand new hurricane? Yes, Austin, it is, my friend. Like I mentioned, you know, we just got a new update here from the Hurricane Center too, saying that this storm here will likely be a major hurricane at landfall. But like I mentioned, I'm not really surprised at that. I was kind of expecting that to happen. We are expecting the storm to be a Category 3 at landfall here. Sustained winds of 115 with gusts up to 140. Possible landfall near Tampa. You know, like I mentioned, there still is a pretty decent sized cone here, so we need to kind of rule out a couple areas here, of course. But I will say, like I said, majority of those models has it making landfall within this region. You know, that area seems most likely. You know, so that's that. Let's see if it hits clear waters. So if it does hit clear water, they will likely have mandatory evacs in place. Wherever this thing makes landfall, there will probably be mandatory evacs out there. Any chance it could curve up? We got some high pressure kind of keeping this storm down, so it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Let's see here. Tampa here. Yeah, well, you know, try not to worry about it, my friend. Like I said, you know, there still is quite a bit of things that we need to work out here, but I can understand why you're a little concerned. Like I said, I'm a little concerned myself. I mean, I'm here in Lakeland. I'm like not far from Tampa, which this would still probably make it quite a storm for us here. Try not to worry yourself about it, but I get it's a little nerve-wracking, but we'll get through this, my friend. I get it. 5 minutes from the Gulf. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, be careful, man. Be careful. And like I said, if we, we'll continue to keep you guys updated. Anything new that pops up, we'll let you know, of course. Let's see. The rapid intensification of these hurricanes, I hope it doesn't become a trend. Hopefully not, but it looks like, one of the good things I can tell you, is it looks like it's possible that as we approach landfall, it looks like that we could have maybe a little bit of dry air getting to it. However, some of the models don't really show that dry air getting into that storm until after it's rolling out of Florida. That's the problem. The storm is, likely going to have a good supply of moisture for, a couple days here, which could allow it to strengthen quite quickly. There's no wind shear, little to no wind shear out here. There is a lot of moisture available, at least for the beginning part. The waters are 29, 30 degrees Celsius, which is good. So, all conditions are in criteria right now for the storm to pick up pretty quickly. Which is, kind of what looks to be possible. And of course, as we approach landfall here, it's, once again, it could, like I said, there could be a little bit of dry air getting into it, but there is a good possibility that the dry air won't get in until, like, post-landfall, possibly. So that's just something to look out for. Euro kind of shows it, the dry air getting to it a little bit more than the GFS did, but still, 960s as we approach, Tampa area out there. How low is the pressure supposed to get? So that's unknown right now, but there's a good amount of models that show it easily getting down into 970s, 960s, probably lower. Let's see here. Anchor the weather station. Oh, I put 5 metal straps and drove it into a 4x4. I think it's good. That thing ain't going nowhere. My home would go before that weather station goes. Let's see here. My dad had to go to Miami because of hurricane. Oh, gotcha. So, regarding the Miami, my Miami folks out there, the good news is that I don't think you guys are going to get, near hurricane force winds. You might get tropical storm conditions. That does seem to be a possibility. Maybe some tropical storm conditions near some of those regions there. We're having, some of those barbs, 30 knots or so, which that would put us like low end tropical storm force. That's sustained too, which, will be gusting a little heavier. So we could get some tropical storm force winds near the, Miami area, but it's going to be much more safe. Comparing to some of these other areas, like along the western side and like kind of the central portions, where it could get a little bit stronger than that. So, did I say Category 3 landfall? Yes, I did. Yeah, we looked at that quite a few times here. Once again, we are expecting this thing to now be a Category 3 at landfall. Sustained winds at 115 miles an hour with gusts up to 140 overall. Am I going to be doing a feed live at landfall? Probably. Actually, I don't know. Black Label, I might not be able to, because like I said, I'm going to be near the landfall point. This storm is coming right at me, potentially. There still is a little bit of time for it to, shift around me a little bit, but from what it looks like now, it's going to be quite a whopper for where I'm at. So I'll try, but certainly no promises. This storm looks like it's going to be worse for me than Helene was for me. I'm not saying this storm is going to be worse than Helene. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me in Lakeland, this looks like it's going to be worse than that for me. So, should I leave? I'm in Palm Harbor. So there's no reason, to evacuate right now. Of course, have preps in place, in case if you had to evacuate. As of right now, there's no evac orders or anything like that. So, we still don't even have hurricane tropical storm watches or anything like that. None of those are in effect. But we'll probably get those within maybe a day or two. Maybe my girlfriend can protect you. Yeah. She actually lives in Orlando. If need be, I'll actually go over there and hang out with her during the storm. Because where I'm at in Lakeland, It would be one thing if I was in a house, but I am literally in a modern trailer. It's a pretty nice place. But like I said, it's not really the best place you want to be during a storm like this. So if you're in a mobile home, it's not really recommended. I'd highly advise finding somewhere else to go. But yeah, I might have to go to Orlando to kind of get away from the storm. I mean, and like I said, even Orlando is probably going to really feel the storm too. Let's see. Could be some bad surges with that easterly track. So some of the models did show like 17-foot waves. There's no surge forecast yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, surges could be a nightmare, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. Absolutely. Living in Polk County, last hurricane, our power went out. Meanwhile, my mom had to go figure out a generator. It was 20-mile-an-hour wind pouring down right now. Gotcha. Do I know how bad the worst storm starts is going to be? So once again, we're expecting this thing to impact, make landfall here for Wednesday. Still kind of working out the time, but it seems Wednesday's most probable. Sometime between the morning of Wednesday and the afternoon of Wednesday is whenever landfall is going to take place. Let's see here. Corbin says this will be worse than Helene. I don't think so. I mean, there's really no way of telling that. See, Helene was a big problem because it really impacted a lot of states. This storm is only mostly impacting Florida. Could be some impacts along, like Georgia potentially as well. But, once again, it's like I said, it's just, yeah. There's no way of knowing if this thing will even be near. Like I said, just don't compare it, guys. Don't compare this thing to Helene. There's so much different about this storm, and it hasn't even happened yet. So, just going off what the Weather Channel said. The Weather Channel said that this is going to be worse than Helene. I don't know about that. If they did, that is some big time clickbait. I'm sorry, but that is ridiculous. If they're saying that this is going to be worse than Helene, that is just outrageous. You cannot compare these two storms. They are, first of all, taking a completely different track. Second of all, impacting not all the same states that Helene did. Anyways, yeah, just moving on. That's just stupid Weather Channel clickbait stuff. Ignore that, y'all. Like, seriously, there's no way of knowing that this is. It's sad whenever I have to say that. That's just ridiculous. Did they really say that? That's just like, oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. Wow, yeah, y'all, please don't believe that. Don't believe that at all. When we get to new cone forecast, we literally just got it. This is the new cone forecast. This is advisory 1A. Advisory 2. Yeah, this is advisory 2 here, and we just got this about a half hour ago. Surge maps up yet? Let me look. I don't think so. They weren't for advisory 1, but we'll look at advisory 2's update here and see if there's any changes. I don't think there is, due to the fact we don't really know where the thing's gonna make landfall fully yet. Nope, there's not. Here's probability of tropical storm force winds. They're definitely increasing. I am in the 50 to 60 zone. Not surprising. Yeah, that's going to increase in probability. The next cone forecast will be out at 9 o'clock, I think. Wait, no. Every 6 hours. So when would that be? I think the next one would be out here. No, hold on. I'm having one of those moments here. Is it every 3 hours? See, we had our advisory 1 issued at 11 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, that would mean 11 p.m. Eastern, I think, is our next one. Anyways. But yeah, so that's that. Once again, rainfall, this is the latest projections. There's going to be a good amount of rain. Tampa Bay could pick up a good 6 to 8 inches out there. This is official WPC, Weather Prediction Center forecast here. So Tampa Bay could pick up a good, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. Orlando, 4 to 6 out there. Miami, a good 6 to 8 as well. Jacksonville, 4 to 6. Key West, 4 to 6 as well. So that's that. Let's see here. maybe true because Helene Center hit Big Bend, not Tampa. That's true. You know, maybe for Tampa, if that's what they meant, then that's understandable. But also remember though that, you know, while models right now agree that the storm is going to, you know, make landfall right next to Tampa, that's still not finalized because you can still see how big the cone is. You know, the storm could still theoretically make landfall as far down south as the Everglades or as far north as the Big Bend. But there's not a lot of models that actually show the thing going up over here. That's what I don't understand, why they have the cone so big. But there's not a lot of models that show it going up here. Most of that model data has that storm going right here. Making landfall into this point here. Now for Tampa, yes, this could be worse, you know, than Helene was for Tampa. That I will say is a possibility. It's not certain, but it seems like it could be a real possibility because, you know, Tampa definitely could really get hit hard with the storm. That is a good possibility here. So, but I mean, like overall damage and overall of a worse storm, I highly doubt it. You know, because Helene, I think, was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Helene was one of the most, if not the most costliest hurricane that we've had in the U.S. I could be wrong on that, but I definitely know it was extremely costly. I've heard numbers all over the place with the damages. But, you know, like I mentioned, we cannot compare the storm overall to Helene. You know, there's just, yeah, two different systems. You know, they're different sizes, they're different strengths, they're different, you know, areas impacted. I mean, while, yeah, it is hitting Florida like Helene did, but Helene also went up into these states, which, you know, Carolinas and stuff's most likely going to be fine. With, like, little to and probably no impacts at all. Do I know if my grandma's house could flood again in Anna Maria? So I don't know, obviously, you know, the state of, you know, the flooding there, but, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this area here does have a good shot at flooding. Oh, absolutely. Considering you're right on the water there, yeah, there could be definitely some surge and some flooding issues, and there likely will be. Make sure that you tell your grandma to prepare for this, Reagan. Make sure that they get, you know, food and water, everything like that they need, because, you know, regardless, I mean, even if this thing made landfall south or north, there'd still likely be some heavy impacts for that area, you know, since they're right on the coast. Absolutely. Yeah, so make sure that they're getting ready for the storm here. Okay. Let's see here. Was potential tropical cyclone 11 in the eastern Pacific moved into the Gulf, rebuilt itself as Milton? I think so. I did see that somewhere. Yeah. Yep. No, this storm. Honestly, this storm just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we were watching that one in the Caribbean that just turned out to be just a bunch of thunderstorms. But this one, I mean, this thing's already a tropical storm. Like I said, this thing's already going here. Here you go. Here's satellite imagery of it right now. I mean, it's, wow, we're getting some strong convection in that core. I mean, this thing's been convecting heavily for since like yesterday. I mean, it's been going at it. Let's see here. So you can actually see that lower level circulation. We do have, you know, the winds going up to the northeast here, and if you look over here, you can actually see some of those winds going to the southwest. Also, we have that venting you can kind of see starting to happen up here. See these clouds? They're going clockwise. So it's kind of like a big corkscrew. Basically, you have the upper level winds going clockwise and the lower level winds going counterclockwise. It's just how these storms vent. We have closed circulation at this point, and not to mention, you know, that venting is really starting to kind of get a hold. So that storm is, it's looking fairly healthy. You know, it is. It's looking fairly healthy. It's still just a bunch of thunderstorms, you know, but very well clustered. I mean, like I said, it's a tropical storm now at this point, but just mentioning, I mean, this thing is looking pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, we'll have to keep on keeping out there for it. How do I think we'll do here in the Big Bend? Thanks for your coverage. No problem, man. So, yeah, the Big Bend needs to watch out for the storm here. Whenever it comes to it, like I mentioned, there's not a whole lot of models that have it going into the Big Bend here. A lot of the models have it kind of between, like, Homosassa Springs down to, like, Cape Coral. That's kind of where a lot of the models have this thing going. There is a handful of models right now that support this thing going near Tampa, if not making a landfall, over Tampa. That's, certainly a possibility. More than likely, the storm's going to make landfall where I put that blue line, but it still is theoretically possible that we could have a Big Bend landfall or, Everglades landfall down here in the deep south. But, like I mentioned, it's there's not a lot of support that shows the storm down here or over here. A lot of that support's right in the middle. So yeah, that's that. But there could be still a little bit of changes in the forecast. Absolutely, things are going to change a bit. Like I mentioned, this is the latest spaghetti models, and you can actually see, unfortunately, a lot of those spaghetti models have this thing going right over Tampa. You can't see Tampa, but that's Tampa right there. Tampa's right in here. A lot of those models have this thing going right next to Tampa, maybe a little bit above, tracking near Ocala, possibly near Lakeland where I'm at. I mean, going up there to the northeast, absolutely. That's where a lot of the density is. And we have a couple models that have it going a little bit further south. But, like I was mentioning, where the cone is, the cone goes up to like here. Yeah, the cone looks something like that. The cone is much bigger than where these models are at, but it's like I mentioned, it's mostly tightened in that little area I was talking about. So more than likely that's where landfall is going to be, is between let me zoom out a little bit here for you guys. Landfall is likely going to be in somewhere right in here, but still, once again, still could shift a little bit. Still is a possibility. GFS and Euro models agree with each other. They are, in terms of track anyways. Intensity, not so much. So also timing is a little different between those two as well. So here we go. So this is the GFS. This is the 12 Zulu, the latest GFS run we have. Has the thing making landfall. Maybe slightly north of Tampa, but it does have that eye wall potentially, rubbing right up against into the Tampa Bay there. Then going over like Ocala and kind of exiting off of like Daytona Beach and then kind of going on to the east here. So that model has it going right next to Tampa. Euro, the 12 Zulu ECMWF model, this one also has it going near, actually this one has it making direct landfall over Tampa. Then actually having that core going over like Orlando there too. So, there is a fair amount of agreement in the track. Absolutely. The intensity is a little bit, like I mentioned, the intensity is a little bit off between those two models. So, remember, they are individual runs, individual models. Here's Icon. Icon actually has the thing going a little bit more to the south here. Pressure down to 970s. That would be like Cat 1, Cat 2 probably. Let's see. Is this thing supposed to break into a hurricane? So, Richard, unfortunately, we're talking Category 3 at landfall here. Hurricane Center just put out their Advisory 2 update here at 5. And it's not looking good. So, latest guidance has this thing Category 3 here for, like I said, landfall is going to be Wednesday the 9th, sometime in the morning or afternoon of the 9th here. And, latest guidance shows 115 sustained with gusts up to 140 at the landfall site and stuff like that, So I'm going to try to do live coverage on the storm, but remember, like I said, I'm in Lakeland. I am kind of maybe a little screwed here. Like I said, I'm not in a normal house either. That's the thing. So I don't think I'm going to be here. I might have to evacuate because, like I said, I'm in a trailer, a modern trailer, which is nice. It's a nice, like I said, it's not like a rundown place or anything like that. It's nice, but, they have standards now to hold up to Category 3, but still, I wouldn't want to be in a mobile home. And, yeah, I wouldn't want to. And I'm in Lakeland. I'm actually kind of in, like, a little bit of the eastern side of Lakeland. But that's that. So like I mentioned, it's just like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to go to Orlando for this because my girlfriend lives up there. But, it's just going to be a little, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be at my computer at the time. That's the thing. What are the millibars supposed to be when it hits? So some models suggest 950s, some 960s, 970s, 980s. Between 960 and 980, I'd say is probably the realm of what to expect right now. But You know, that's not really known as well. Still is a little bit iffy with the strength too. My my grandma has another house here 10 minutes away. Polk County. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, hopefully that'll be all right. Let's see, especially if it becomes a Cat 4. Oh, dude, I'm out of here if it's a Cat 4. I'm not even joking. As of now, there's not a lot of guidance that shows that. I mean, right now we're kind of expecting low in Cat 3. If it stays where it's at now, I will probably ride it out because it's rated up to Cat 3. Not to mention, you know, those Cat 3 winds probably won't be directly for me, as, you know, I'm a little bit more inland. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to push it much further, though, honestly. You know, because it's not really the place you want to be, you know. And you don't want to be in a mobile home during all this. It's definitely not really good. Let's see here. Ted says I'm in Ocala. Gotcha. Yeah, so Ocala, you know, you guys up there need to watch this too. I mean, Ocala's going to definitely feel it. I mean, a lot of Florida, like I mentioned, is going to really feel this, regardless of where you're really at. You know, and honestly, the main peninsula of Florida, I mean, we're gonna feel it pretty well in these areas. Absolutely, some of it more than others, of course. You know, some of those heaviest impacts, as of right now, seem to most likely be kind of towards the center portion of the peninsula. That's kind of where the heaviest impacts seem to be, as of right now. But like I mentioned, you know, there still is a little bit of room for changes and stuff like that. When is it happening? How long will it last? So we're going to start to get some rain tomorrow. You know, we're going to start getting some rain tomorrow, being Sunday, going into Monday. It's going to rain as well. Tuesday, likely to rain a bit too. And then Wednesday is the day where we're going to have the storm, you know, the low. The hurricane itself make landfall. That's going to be there for sometime. See, this model shows it for late the 9th. Right now, the Hurricane Center has it making landfall for the afternoon of the 9th. And it's going to carry into the evening, more than likely. So, looks like the Hurricane Center has pushed landfall a little bit later, which isn't really good because the longer it stays in the water, there could be a bit more strengthening, but there also could be more dry air getting pulled into it. So there's a lot of variables here. And of course, you know, the closer we get, the more we learn those variables. Surge will cause flooding. Yeah, there's going to be some surge out of this. I mean, that's a given. That's a guarantee. We're going to have surge on this storm. There's no getting out of the surge. It's going to happen on the West Coast. How strong, where exactly, that's unknown. But a lot of the West Coast is probably going to see quite a bit of surges. We'll probably be off school. I'm sure a lot of schools are going to close in Florida because of this. I literally would be surprised if they didn't. But I would absolutely say, yeah, that a lot of the schools are probably going to close because of the storm. Let's see here. See, I hate at night. Oh yeah, at nighttime that is not really good. Well, as of now, you know, landfall is going to be probably during the daytime. So there's probably going to be that landfall during the day overall about Polk County. So yeah, in Polk here, I would not be surprised if they closed it. I would honestly hold back your kids, you know, during that storm. I would not let them go to school in that storm. I mean, because like I said, you know, Polk County, where we're at, you know, could very well be heavily impacted. I mean, Polk County, the storm could really still live on to be a pretty strong storm, even for us. You know, because Polk County is not super far away from the coast. I mean, we are a little bit inland, of course, but, you know, especially for my folks up in like Lakeland, we're kind of on the western side of Polk here. And, you know, that we're not that far away from there. Now, obviously, we don't have any surge problems. You know, we're not on the coast, but we're definitely still going to hold on to some of those winds, I'm sure. Sup, Sophie? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Do I think it might stall? I don't think it's going to stall, but it's not going to be moving that fast, honestly. It's going to be moving relatively slower. You know, and like I mentioned, that's going to lead it to a lot of rain out here. There's a good shot that we could get several inches of rain out there. Some models are suggesting well over a foot of rain. So, you know, that's that. The latest guidance here with the rainfall, this is what we're looking at. Here you go. Yeah, so this is this is the latest guidance with the rainfall in terms of what we can expect. So yeah, Tampa Bay, you can see 6 to 8 inches of rainfall out there. Orlando, good 4 to 6 inches of rain is expected. Miami, 6 to 8. Jacksonville, 4 to 6, stuff like that. So let's see. Right now, it's not supposed to be Cat 4. No, right now it's supposed to be Category 3. Once again, low in Cat 3 at landfall, potentially near the Tampa Bay area is what we're looking at. Once again, the cone of uncertainty still stretches from the Big Bend to the Everglades, so there still is, a bit of a uncertainty realm here. But it looks like models are, I wouldn't say fully agreeing, but they're definitely in some form of agreement in terms of, this thing potentially ending up near Tampa Bay or near like Port Charlotte area. Somewhere between those regions there is probably going to roll through. Let's see, we'll pull Milton here again. So this is the latest spaghetti plots. You can see that they're fairly compacted here. How bad is it going to get in the Tampa area? Tampa, like I mentioned, it depends on how close that thing gets to it, but Tampa very well could be heavily impacted. If you live in Tampa, I would highly, highly consider monitoring this, and honestly, I would start preparing. If you guys live here in the Tampa area, if you live in like Central Florida, western coast of Florida, I would heavily consider preparing for the storm right now. As soon as possible, make sure you have water, make sure you have non-perishable foods, everything like that. You're going to need it because there's going to be likely widespread power outages all across a lot of the state. So, yeah, we're going to feel this one pretty good. I have a feeling I really have a bit of a concern that this is going to be a heavy hitter, a very heavy hitting storm as well. Jim says I got family in Lakeland. Gotcha. Yeah. So, like I said, we're obviously not going to be on the coast. Lakeland's not on the coast, but we out here are still likely going to feel some very strong winds from this storm here. We're not going to be left out from that. Let's see. My sister lives in Orlando. It's going to get hard. So yeah, Anna, so Orlando will likely feel the effects here too. The storm is still expected to be a hurricane from the west coast to the east coast. It's going to be a hurricane as it crosses over Florida. So there is going to be that possibility that Orlando could see tropical storm conditions. I mean, if worst case scenario, possibly hurricane conditions. Just depends on the track. So absolutely. Just joining, can I cover a bit of what East Coast Central Florida will maybe deal with? I'm trying to be negative. Try not to throw it on the west to find as much coverage for it. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, on the eastern side, the storm, like I mentioned, is still likely going to be a hurricane as we approach our way through Florida here. So obviously, you do need to monitor this as well. Some of those winds, of course, once the storm starts making landfall, we could have some of those winds pushing up against the coast there, which could cause some swelling of the water, maybe some surges, who knows? Like I said, we're still not too sure of the surges quite yet. A bit of rip current concerns, absolutely. It's going to really stir up those waters out there. Those coasts are going to be feeling some strong winds as well. So yeah, absolutely. Once again, the exact impacts are still something that needs to marinate. So we still need to kind of figure out over the next couple of days, the forecast needs to marinate for a little bit. I always say that, but just give it another day or so. But right now it is concerning enough to where I want everybody to start preparing for this here. Don't wait till last minute. Make sure you have your food, make sure you have your water, everything you need in order to have for the storm here. Let's see here. My dad works for energy. He has to go to Tampa. Oh, gotcha. Jesse says, hey bro, we're supposed to set. Let's see, your trust's house at Deltona this Tuesday. It's showing a lot of rain Monday and Tuesday. What's the reason for that? So we're actually getting a lot of tropical moisture coming in here. We're getting a lot of tropical moisture coming in from the Gulf here. So Monday, actually starting Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to get a lot of rain. Then Wednesday is when the hurricane's going to come through. So, we're going to have a good 4 days worth of rainfall out here. But it's just a lot of tropical moisture that's built up in the Gulf. And all that's just going to roll over Florida. And we're going to get, not only hurricane problems, but we're also going to get rain and flooding problems too. So that's that. overall. Let's see here. What day should I evacuate? I'm in Palm Harbor. So it depends on the track. Like I mentioned, there's no evac orders right now, so there's no need to, to evacuate. But if you do, if it does become necessary, just be prepared for it. Okay. When's it supposed to hit Tampa area? Sometime in the afternoon of Wednesday is what it looks like overall. Let's see here. Nathan says, hello and thank you from Venice, Florida. No problem, man. Yeah, be careful out there. We'll keep an eye out there for your region. Jesse says, thank you, brother. Love your channel. I appreciate that, Jesse. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, I'm trying to get this information out for you, and we're going to continue to help y'all out there. We're going to keep y'all, keep you guys weather prepared. And of course, that's the main thing here is just making sure you guys are updated. And, we're going to give you actual information. A lot of people try to hype these things up. I'm not like that. I just want to tell you what data that I'm seeing here and what's available to us at the moment. And I always do tell you guys that things can change. And like I mentioned, there is still a lot of variables with the storm that could, throw it off a bit. We do still have the possibility of the storm going up towards the Big Bend or down there towards the Everglades. I mean, it's still a pretty broad spectrum, in terms of where the core or the eye of the storm is going to make landfall. However, there's not a lot of models that really support that. Matter of fact, there's a very few models that actually has it going up into these regions. Most of that model guidance has that storm going up in these areas here. So more than likely, this thing's going to make landfall within this realm here. So that's that. Anna says, what category? Yeah, so it looks like as of now, Category 3 is expected. Reagan, Category 2 was the last update. They have now updated it to Category 3 at landfall. Right now we are, expecting the thing to be lower in Category 3 at landfall. Sustained winds of 115 miles an hour with gusts up to 140 out there. Now, the good news is that, once we go inland here, some of these central areas are not going to be dealing with, that strong of winds. Now, don't get me wrong. Those winds are going to still be very strong, and we're going to likely have some, wind damage associated with it in these regions here. But the thing is that, the land interaction with these hurricanes and these tropical cyclones, slows down the winds dramatically for the inland people. Those strongest hurricane force winds are going to be felt mostly along the coasts. That does include Tampa, unfortunately. It could be a possibility. I'm not saying that there won't be any hurricane, force winds and stuff like that inside of the, the central side. Because, we will likely have hurricane conditions leading into Central Florida, too. That is likely going to happen. But I'm saying, the worst of the winds here is mostly going to be along the coast here. And then once we dig our way inland, that's where things are going to, maybe, die down a little bit. But still, once again, very strong. Very, very strong. Don't let it lower your guard there. You got, like I said, we need our guards up here, guys. We need to have our guards up because, this... It could be a heavy hitter. Let's see here. What's up, Asin? Hope you're doing good. Let's see. JT, I already answered your question a little bit ago about PTC 11 in the EPAC. I did see something about it, and I wasn't really monitoring as much then, but I do think that this was what was left of that one storm in the EPAC that rolled its way over Mexico and then ended up in the Gulf. Yes, I think it is associated. But I could be wrong on that. Once again, I wasn't really watching that storm as much until the last day or so because, this thing really became a big concern yesterday morning whenever models started screaming this thing could be a bad one. And of course, now that, models have, continued to support this, not a lot of changes. I mean, well, actually, I take that back. Not a lot of changes in the track per se, but a lot of changes in the strength have been made, of course, for the worst, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll continue monitoring this. They closed school for the last storm and it didn't even get bad. Well, that's just good. That's just good to prepare. I mean, what if it did get bad, while you were at school? And that's what these people think. It's like in weather, even with the forecast and stuff like that. Weather it's never going to be perfectly forecastable, if that makes sense. We're never going to know exactly on the dot what everybody's going to feel, because there's a lot of things that randomly change in the weather. Sometimes these systems strengthen stronger. I mean, for example, Helene, we were not expecting it to be that strength. Was it 140 at landfall? We were expecting it to be 130, and it became 140. So it was stronger. Not to mention that track shifted, or where the storm ended up was 25 miles east of the actual forecast zone. So that's what I'm saying. We're never gonna fully know exactly the impacts until the storm actually hits. Unfortunately, models are just not that good. We have the 18 Zulu already coming out, and it's already a major hurricane. But yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, it's never going to be that good at knowing it. And it's obviously good to just, say, hey, prepare for the storm here. If it turns out to be something bad, you're prepared for it. If it turns out to be something, not so bad, and you're like, oh, what did I prepare for? Well, at least you were prepared, and at least you were ready for it, because it's better to be ready for these storms, than not ready for them. It's better to over prepare than under prepare, because you don't want to get caught off. You don't want to get caught off guard there, and not prepare for something that you really should have. Does that make sense? Just that's the whole reasoning behind all that. Let's see here. Not looking at new GFS run. Yeah, I'm not really either. I mean, we're the latest GFS 18 Zulu. That's what we're left with as of right now. So it's already looking pretty gnarly. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. We have the new GFS running out now. Will Tampa Airport be closed Wednesday? I would absolutely bet you it will be. Yeah, I am. Tampa Airport will most likely be closed on Wednesday. Let's see. One reason schools may close mainly is because of when certain wind speed buses weren't allowed to carry. That is true. That is really true. Buses are high-profile vehicles, and they have basically the winds hit them like a wall, which can easily overturn them. Absolutely. So that's another reason. Transportation's a big issue. Not that the schools aren't. The schools are sturdy, of course, but like I mentioned, it's just a problem, because if you have the kids out at school, and say there's a bad storm that happens, and then the roads become bad, and it's just a travel nightmare. It's just a nightmare overall. So could this be a category 4? It theoretically could, although there's not a whole lot of guidance at it right now. Right now I would just expect it to be a Cat 3. Right now the official forecast shows lower Cat 3. That's what I would go with. The models here, there is a couple that, there's a handful of models that does suggest the storm potentially being, category 4 overall. So that is a possibility. But anyways, let's see here. GFS has 964 in the middle. Yeah, I saw that. It's unfortunate. Will Middleburg, Florida be underwater? I hope not. I hope not. But let me pull it up for you, my friend. We'll take a look at it. Let's see here, Middleburg, Florida. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, you're in that. Oh, okay. So okay, I have good news. So yeah, you're inland. No, you're not going to be like completely underwater. You're inland. You're not going to have any coastal impacts. Rain-wise, I mean, you'll certainly feel a lot of rain. A good 4 to 6 inches out in that direction, maybe locally higher. If you're in a flood-prone area out there, then yeah, I mean, there could be some flooding, but you're not going to be fully underwater. There's just going to be a flooding concern for that area, though. So if you're in a lower-lying area than your surroundings, then yeah, take that seriously. I mean, you should take it serious regardless, but, if you're in one of those flood-prone areas, then, yeah, this is something that you really need to take into consideration. You're welcome, Holt, no problem. Family in Naples Park, let's see, on the coast. Should they move their car inland to avoid storm surge? Naples Park, let's see here. So Naples, let me pull up Naples Park here. I'm not entirely... Is it down in Naples? I'm assuming Naples Park. Maybe it's. See, I'm not sure if that's okay. I'm assuming Naples. Now, like I mentioned, we're still not sure if this thing's going to be making landfall down there because, it still is theoretically possible that this storm could, maybe go a little bit more to the south. I mean, that is a possibility. Once again, just watch it for a couple days, okay? Just watch it for a couple days, and, there is a chance it could go north of you. Honestly, yeah, no, you got to really watch out for the storm surge out there. Let's see here. Thank you for what you do. You're very welcome, Hayes. No problem. Can you update me on Levy County? Let's see. Levy, Florida. Okay. So yeah, this area. Gotcha. So, the good news is that you're likely inland. I don't know exactly where you're at over here, but it seems like this county is mostly inland, which is good. So you don't have to deal with any of that. That storm surge stuff, but there is going to be a lot of rain associated with it, though. Once again, a good 4 to 6 inches overall rainfall out in that region, and stuff like that. So while rainfall is definitely a thing you need to look out for, also I would monitor the winds too, because there's a good shot it could get pretty windy out there. Still, regarding the exact wind speeds is a little early to tell. But I would definitely assume tropical storm force at least would be a good possibility. So that's that. Let's see here. When will the hurricane make landfall? Probably Wednesday afternoon. That's what the latest guidance shows us. If it hits Clearwater, does Wheelie? So like I mentioned, there's currently no evac orders. If there is evac orders, just locally monitor that, and if there is evac orders, so there's 2 different types of evacuations. You have mandatory, which means that you gotta get out. It's illegal if you don't. Mandatory means you literally by law have to get out, and voluntary means you can stay if you want, or you could go if you want, but it's advised that you leave if you're in a voluntary. That's the difference between the two. Like I said, no areas right now are under any evacs. There's no voluntary or mandatory evacs in place right now. But there will likely be once we get to the point here. Okay, so keep that in mind. That there will likely be that at the point. But that's still unknown. So once we figure that out, we'll let you know. Let's see. Hey says, thanks for the best. You're very welcome. No problem, man. PRT says, thanks for all you do, by the way. You're very welcome, my friend. No problem at all. Like I said, I'm glad to be here for you. Glad to help y'all out. Let's see here. Is it going to move to Concord, Florida? Let's see here. No. Honestly, this area up here is probably not going to be heavily impacted. Unless the storm does take a Big Bend approach, which as of now, I think that's an unlikely scenario. I think the most likely scenario is this thing making landfall between like Homosassa Springs and Cape Coral. Between those 2 areas, I think that's most likely where the thing's going to make landfall. Because that's where a lot of the guidance, that's where most of the model guidance is. There's not a lot of even ensembles that show it out over here. Most of the heavy density is in, like I said, these regions here. So that's more than likely where it's going to end up. But, once again, there still is a little bit of time for changes. But, yeah, you're not in a cone as of right now, so you're not going to be in the direct landfall point. More than likely you're not. So, and actually those areas up there are going to see less rainfall too, as you can tell. Not a whole lot of rainfall. Up where you're at, you're actually probably barely going to see any. Most of that's going to be to your south. So, you're more lucky. You're in more of a more fortunate area of Florida per se. Let's see. There was mandatory evacuations during Helene, but I don't think there was one. So yeah, Reagan. Whenever we get to the storm, a couple days before, because like I said, there's no tropical storm watches or warnings out right now, or hurricane warnings or hurricane watches. None of those have been issued yet. We'll probably get those tomorrow. I'm thinking probably tomorrow evening we'll start to get some of those watches, and some of that starting to get issued. They typically do that about 48 hours before the storm happens. So about 2 days before it happens. Overall, and then of course about 36 hours before the storm happens, that's when they issue those warnings, just to give you some time to prepare for it. Let's see here. But yeah, right now there is no there's no evac orders. There's none right now. But there will likely be once we get to the point of the storm. What about Fishhawk? Let's see here. Let's pull it up for you. All right, this is in Florida, of course. Yeah, so this is actually an area that we really need to monitor too. Matter of fact, like I said, you're actually pretty close to me. I'm here in Lakeland, so me and you both, we need to watch this closely. So we're likely going to have some strong winds out here. If this thing does end up making a Tampa landfall, we are going to have some very strong winds where we're at. Possibly even hurricane force. Definitely is a good possibility. So expect some strong winds. You're obviously inland, so you're not going to be seeing surges or anything like that. However, there will be a lot of rain involved, and this region will see a good amount of rain, possibly a good 4 to 6 inches overall. So pretty good amount of rainfall is expected. So between rain and strong winds, that is almost a certainty at this point, to some magnitude, to some degree. I mean, even if this thing shoots up north, we're likely still going to have some strong winds out here. If it shoots to the south, same thing. But you know, we'll just continue to monitor that. Let's see. What can we expect in Orlando? So yeah, Orlando is in the cone and kind of towards the middle. That center of the storm could track near, if not over Orlando. That is a good possibility. Now, when it comes to the exact impact, still kind of unknown. However, strong winds and heavy rains will still likely be a problem for those regions there. So, still is a little bit, like I mentioned, a little bit unknown for that. Do we go to jail if they're for avoiding mandatory evacs? I think it's a misdemeanor, right? I don't think it's a felony. It might be actually. I don't know. But I do know it's illegal if you avoid mandatory evacs. See, mandatory evacs are in place saying that you gotta go, and if you stay, then you'll be. I think it's fined, and I think there could be jail time. Actually, now that I think about it. Whenever it comes to voluntary, like I said, that's a choice that's up to you. But it's highly recommended to leave during a voluntary. Do I think Tampa will have to evacuate? If trends continue and if these models continue to support this track, yeah, I would say that Tampa would probably get an evac order. But like I mentioned, there still is some time for changes. It could go a little to the north. It could go a little to the south. But as of now, the models have been fairly agreeing on this storm out there near Tampa. So, yeah. What do you think the odds of power going out in Cape Coral if it tracks to Tampa? Pretty high, actually. Especially because you're right there on the, you're right there near the coast by Cape Coral. There's going to be still probably some pretty strong winds out here, of course, and stuff like that. So, of course. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Proxy coming in with $100 Venmo donation. No way, dude. Oh my gosh, Proxy, thank you so much for that. That is really sweet of you. Proxy has been super, super sweet, super supportive. I really appreciate that. Guys, please give Proxy a big thank you. Let me read this note real quickly. Dude. Let's see here. Prayers to you and other fellow Floridians. Basically, I couldn't read the whole thing, but Proxy, thank you so much. I think Proxy was just saying, here, let me go back here real quick. Okay. Proxy was saying that your safety is most important and stuff like that. So, seriously, Proxy, thank you so much. That is just really, really sweet of you. Thank you for the support. That means a lot. Like I said, I'll actually use those funds, Proxy, for preparing for the storm here. So I appreciate that. I'll use that money to go towards water and stuff like that. So Proxy, thank you seriously for the donation. Again, that is really sweet of you. Much appreciated. Much love to you, Prox. Like I said, donations are much appreciated. They're not, something that you guys have to do. Like I said, all I care about is really you guys getting prepared and weather aware. But seriously, thank you so much. And that will definitely go towards helping me out with the storm as well. So thank you. Thank you, Proxy. I really, really appreciate that. Let's see here. Do I think it could reach Cat 5? Very unlikely, Brent. That dry air is likely going to allow it to not get near that strength. I think at max, maybe low in Cat 4, but even then, there's not a whole lot of support for that. Right now, I would go off of Cat 3. upper, maybe, like I said, probably lower mid Cat 3 is probably what I'm thinking it'll be landfall at. That's where I see most guidance. Let's see here. But yeah, dude, once again, thank you so much, Proxy. Much love to you. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. This one's potentially going to be a lot of trouble for Orlando, too. Yeah, I mean, it could, and that's the thing is that, this storm is going to be going from the west to the east. I mean, this thing's crossing over Florida. Instead of brushing, portions of Florida and then going over the Panhandle or the Big Bend, where there's that little gap, no, this one's going to be going over the middle of Florida, more than likely. This one's going to be a heavy hitter for both probably Tampa and Orlando, and folks between like me. Like I mentioned, I'm here in Lakeland. I'm right here. I'm in Polk County. I mean, look, I am right here. The storm is making landfall right here as a Cat 3. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty close. So, like I mentioned, we'll just keep an eye on it. Keep on monitoring it. Let's see here. Just issued a statement. Oh, wow. Really? So my mom just wrote me, or she wrote in the chat there, and she says that DeSantis, our governor, has issued a state of emergency for 35 counties in Florida just now. We're on that list. I am not surprised that we're on that list, to be honest with you. I mean, Polk, like I said, is likely going to get hit pretty good out here. So remember, these are not evac orders. These are just state of emergency orders saying that, hey, I believe state of emergencies mean that, just to have extra supplies and everything like that ready to go. It's something to do with FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, just to get everything in order, get everything in line for potential hazard. So, in this case, the hurricane. So, yeah, that is honestly expected overall. But yeah, we do have ourselves, like I said, now a Category 3 at landfall, 115 sustained, gusts up to 140. Once again, we're watching very closely for a potential Tampa landfall. This thing could go, towards Tampa. Once again, this thing still could theoretically, make landfall between, the Big Bend and, the southwestern side of Florida out there near the Everglades. But like I mentioned, most guidance has this thing over here towards like the central, the west central side of Florida. That's where more than likely the storm's going to make landfall overall. Let's see here. When will landfall be apparent? So, Farm Girl, we're expecting landfall. Like I said, it's been kind of hopping around, but as of now, it seems like the landfall is going to be sometime right around 2 p.m., right around the afternoon here of Wednesday the 9th. That is the timing with that overall. Let's see. Wednesday afternoon is supposed to be like, yeah. So Wednesday, let's see. Just send me the list. All right, thank you. I'll look at that. I'm on my phone, so I can't really look right now, but yeah. But yeah, so there is now officially a state of emergency issued. So that's that. Hey, Ma, do you know if Orange County is on that list? Orange County is Orlando. I'm just curious. I can't look right now, but Ma, if you could look, see if Orange County is on there. Just curious. Let's see. I'm building a pirate ship just to avoid a misdemeanor. Oh, buddy. Yeah, like I said, don't mess with this storm, man. Seriously, this is not a storm you want to mess with. Let's take a look back at GFS. Let's see what we got going on here. The new GFS. Oh, wow. What a trend different. You see that? Latest GFS actually has it going up towards the Big Bend. Goodness. Wow. Yeah, maybe a bit of that. Look at that. That's actually that's a new trend there. But remember that could still change. We're still several days away. But orange is on the list. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Well, not cool, but thanks for letting me know. Yeah, new GFS has it going a little bit north of Tampa, but still being very strong for Tampa. Remember that's just one model run, one run here, so that's still news to change here overall. But yeah, orange is like, okay, gotcha. But anyways, alrighty, everybody. Well, we're going to probably roll things up here, wrap things up here. If you guys have any questions, any final questions before I roll off, feel free to let me know. Y'all, please be careful out there. Please be careful. You know, make sure that you guys are starting to get prepared. Once again, I want you guys to get prepared for this thing now. Start preparing immediately as soon as possible. Do not wait till last minute, because you know, everybody's going to be going out and, you know, getting all these items and stuff like that. So please, like I mentioned, just make sure that you guys are ready for this, you know, and start preparing as soon as possible. Overall, you know, expect the power to go out, expect to, you know, lose your frozen and, you know, refrigerated foods, have non-perishable food, canned goods, you know, water. Make sure you have all that stuff ready to go. Flashlight, extra batteries, have all your important documents in your safe spots, and you know, just keep that there. But anyways, alrighty, everybody. Well, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for now. You guys take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. We'll do another live stream tonight. Actually, we'll probably do another late live stream here. We'll definitely do another late live stream overall. So that is that. Let's see, Serious Storm, yet you're ignoring my question. So I want to go ahead and make something clear, Arctic. I'm never ignoring anybody. Matter of fact, you know, I'm not fully always looking at the chat, which I try to as much as possible, but you got to remember, I'm also talking and I'm also showing all these graphics. I don't see every single, like I said, I don't see every single, you know, comment that comes through. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things I got to get through. You know, I'm only a one-man team, so, you know, I'm not ignoring anybody. So don't think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. Also, I don't know if Hudson's on the list or not. So, like I said, I don't have the access to that list. So, anyways, Arctic says you lost a viewer. Well, good. I'm better off without you. But alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you later on stream. Sounds good. You have a wonderful rest of my day, my friends. Like I said, we'll catch you all later on. We will see you guys in the next one. And once again, we'll be live around probably 11 o'clock or so. That's when that next update is going to be coming out. So, alrighty. All right, you guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And we'll see you in the next one. You guys take care. See you later on.